Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
two certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only two best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go.
Okay, so this blog is an old blog, and it's about feeling drained
At work.
and what to do to feel more energized. So before we get into that, I want to tell you something and relate it back to this topic. One is that today is the first day of our holiday promotion on the Passion Profile short course. We can talk more about that at the end.
It's only a week long, today through next Tuesday, the 17th.
Yep, and you can get $50 off with code HOLIDAY. If you need that to be reminded to you, that was not good grammar. Then you can go in the... It's not common for me to be passive. Go to the show notes and link right over to the page, and then we'll, remind you of the code. It's not the only thing you get. We'll talk more about that at the end, but just right up front, I want to be like, if you want to save money on this course, which is a great place to start if you're new to us and you're lost and you're confused and maybe you've been job hopping and you can't figure out what's wrong, but something feels off, this could very well be a great place for you to start.
And good timing, too, because we're going into a new year. You might want to feel better in your job in 2020.
Don't be like, do you know those memes that's like broke versus woke?
Uh-huh.
So like broke would be waiting until January to get your shit together. Woke is doing it in December. I've also heard bespoke is the best one, which I think is hilarious. And that's getting your shit together whenever it occurs to you, not waiting until a certain time of year.
That's fine too. But, you could be a little preemptive of the new year.
Sure. So
it's very cliche to do it in January.
It is. I'm like, oh my God, right? Like these people. I get it, but maybe like be a little bit more woke than broke. So I just also want to relate this to the topic, which is if you're feeling drained at work, one of the reasons can be that you are just in a career or a job that is a misalignment with how you are naturally wired. And it doesn't matter how much you try to fix the job or hack things or improve things, if it's just not working for you. This is like being in a relationship with someone. You're just not, this is going to be bad, but like, I'm going to go with it. This is the first analogy that occurred to me. So like, this should tell you something about how my brain works. This is like being in a relationship with someone that you're not actually physically attracted to, but you feel like you should be with them because they make sense on paper.
Yep.
And so you kind of like get them to go to the gym with you and do sit-ups because you're hoping that if they have abs, you might be like more into them. And you might be like, oh, maybe you should get your hair cut like this, hoping that will like, just do something for you. And you just can't.
You're trying to make it work and it's just not going to work.
It's just not working and you just aren't feeling it. And you feel bad about the fact that you're not feeling it. And then you're wondering, what's wrong with me? Why am I a bad person? This person is so nice. I'm like, sometimes you just don't want to roll around with nice. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So all of that is to say, sometimes it's not you that's the problem.
It's just the fit.
It's just a
wrong
misalignment,
fit.
Which is what this course is meant to help you get into. It's a problem we diagnose and help you work through in this course.
Yes.
So we'll talk more about that at the end. Would you like, do we need to describe more about this blog? I mean,
this blog is for people who are probably going to be interested in this course, frankly, because if you're feeling really drained at work, something is misaligned. That's what's at the core of it. And this blog is going to help you start to shift things to feel a little bit more aligned. And that may or may not be enough for this to become a long-term fit for you. And that's what the short course is going to help you figure out is what you have salvageable Or if you change the fundamental structure of how you're doing it? Or do you need something else? And if you do, how do you figure that out?
Oh yeah, should you just break up with that guy and date someone who actually has abs? Maybe. Okay. All right, we'll be back at the end then.
How to feel more energized at work and generally in life. I was sitting in a coffee shop the other day, doing some work on my laptop, sipping my after-lunch tea and enjoying the relative quiet, when a rush of people flooded in all at once. I looked up to see that my quiet little coffee shop, which had been practically empty just 10 minutes before, was now bustling with noise and had a line out the door. I checked the time. Yep, the 2 p.m. coffee rush. It got me thinking, what's with the collective need for a caffeine boost mid-afternoon? I'm sure there are many explanations for why so many of us hit that 2 p.m. slump. Not enough sleep, heavy lunches that make you drowsy, sitting for too long, etc. But I think the biggest reason is because most people's work is much more draining than it is energizing. If you spend most of your workday doing things that slowly siphon off your energy and you don't have enough natural ways to replenish it, then of course you'll feel the need to boost your energy reserves any way you can. Enter the 2 p.m. latte. Without some way to re-energize yourself, you're running on fumes and you can hardly make it to the end of the workday, much less do anything fun or productive in your free hours post-work. While I love a good coffee as much as the next girl, I don't want you to feel like you have to rely on caffeine or any other external energy booster just to barely get through the day. What if there were a way for you to naturally replenish your energy throughout the day through your work instead of in spite of your work? This applies even if you're not currently in a job you love or far from it. Figure out what energizes you versus what drains you. Here's an experiment I want you to try. Over the next few days, keep a running list of everything that energizes you throughout the workday. If you're working on a particular project and you find yourself really engaged in the creative problem-solving part of it, add that to your list. If you stop by a coworker's desk to chat and feel better afterward, add it to your list. If you lead a productive meeting and feel a surge of accomplishment afterward, add it to your list. If you take a short walk outside to clear your head and replenish your energy, that goes on the list too. Anything, no matter how big or small, that gives you even the slightest boost in energy gets compiled on your energizing list. Then, I want you to create a parallel, contrasting list of anything throughout the day that drains you. Certain projects, people, meetings, tasks, deadlines, lulls in the day, etc., might feel like they're draining the very life out of you. You'll know something is draining if you find yourself hardcore procrastinating on it, or if it makes you feel heavy and exhausted. Keep track of those things too. Look for themes. By the end of those few days, you'll be hyper aware of your energy fluctuations and you'll have a comprehensive list of things that feel really good and really miserable. Now it's time to look at both of your lists, your energizing list and the draining list, and see what patterns emerge. Do a lot of your energizing examples come from connection with other people, or from having creative freedom, or from leadership or spaciousness or solo work? Do you see a pattern of feeling drained when you're doing busy work, or when there's not enough work to fill the day and you're bored, or from being around certain people, or when you're making client calls? Recognizing the broader pattern of what energizes you versus what drains you gives you a kind of playbook on understanding yourself better at work and really in all areas of life, so you're clear on what works for you and what doesn't. Start to rebalance the scales. You're only human, so you don't have an endless supply of energy. That's why we've got to choose wisely where you direct it. Eventually, unless you replenish as much energy as you're giving out, you're going to run out and soon after burn out. That means you're a much healthier, happier, more productive, and more engaged worker, and human for that matter, when you're spending more of your time doing things that boost your energy and less time on things that drain it. To start shifting that balance, take a look at your calendar or to-do list, work and personal, and label each upcoming event or task as energizing or draining. First, try to eliminate as many of the draining activities as possible. That might mean doing something uncomfortable, like declining meeting requests or delegating some of your work. If there's absolutely no way to cut something from your draining tasks, find ways to make it less miserable. Take frequent breaks, put in your earbuds and listen to some energizing music. Ask to work on it remotely, or mix in things that do energize you. Then start finding ways to bring more of the energizing things into your day-to-day routine. It might help to share your energizing list with your boss so that together you can brainstorm ways for you to spend more of your time on those things. You might also want to start your day out with something that energizes you, whether that means working on your most interesting project first, or listening to an inspiring podcast on your way to work. That'll help fortify you for whatever comes your way the rest of the day. What if you're thinking, but I'm not energized by anything at my job? If you're truly miserable at your job and you hardly ever feel energized, then it's time to get really honest with yourself about why you're still there. It's not healthy or sustainable to stay in a job that drains your energy all day, every day. And if you ask me, life is too short to hate what you do for a living. So if it's clear that you're in the absolute wrong job for you, then use your energizing list that you came up with to direct your job search to something that's a much better fit. Apply this to your whole life. You can try this in your personal life too. Pay attention to what brings you energy outside of work. Things like plans with friends, yoga class, walking your dog, reading a great book, taking a class, planning an upcoming trip. Versus what drains your energy, possibly grocery shopping, cleaning the house, checking your work email over the weekend, eating junk food. Try to eliminate or outsource as many draining things as you can and make a concerted effort to spend your outside of work hours doing as many energizing and replenishing things as possible. So tell me, what are a few things that you know give you an energy boost? What drains you? How can you start to shift that balance? Leave me a comment to let me know.
If you haven't, I don't know how you haven't, or if it's been a long time since you have, take the passion profile quiz.
Yeah, I think there might be some people who just listen, who we don't talk about the quiz enough, and they maybe haven't gone to take it yet. So step one, definitely go to our website and take our passion profile quiz. It's going to help you figure out the right intersection between your passion and how you want to be making money. It's how you should be working. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily what you should be doing, but it's going to help you narrow down those choices a lot too. And then if you're like, oh, this kind of resonates, I think there's something going on here, then definitely consider joining us for the Passion Profile short course, especially in this next week. It is available all the time. But
it's
in the next week,
completely do it yourself. We're not going to hold your hand through it, which might be a con, but might be a pro because you don't have to be there for anything. It's just, right. You have it. Now it's go do it.
Well, and along those same lines, you can sign up in this next week. And even if you're like, I don't know if I can do this before the new year, or I don't know if I can do this within a week, that's fine. You just have it.
Yeah.
You can do it
forever.
Whenever is best timing for you. But if you sign up in the next week, you're going to get a lot of extra stuff. So
yes.
Keep that in mind too.
Extra stuff includes, we're going to do an exclusive, only if you sign up during this window, workshop, an anti-resolution workshop where we're going to get into goal setting that actually works, which is something that's always hot to talk about in the new year.
And we'll answer your questions too.
Sure. About anything, passion profiles or whatever else. You're free to ask us ahead of time or there live. We'll set that date for, we haven't set the date yet, and it's fine because we'll let you know later in December or even early in January when we're going to do that.
Yes. And there will be a recording for the people who can't join us.
Right.
We always get that question. I like to just answer it preemptively.
There will be a video. And then, of course, the other thing we're doing is that if you've been considering one-on-one coaching, you will get grandfathered in. I've also heard the term grandmothered in, which I really like.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. To our 2019 coaching rates because they're going up in 2020. And if you want to consider starting coaching, we will actually talk to you about it before enrollment opens in March for everyone else.
And like we said at the beginning, you get $50 off too.
Plus that, it's not even a very expensive course to begin with.
No.
So, and you can pay in 2 payments. So if, you're more in the broke, you want to be woke category, then this is great first step for you. This is a great combination of both of those things. So, okay. We'll be talking about this more over the next couple episodes. We'll be reminding you. But remember, code is holiday. Link is in the episode description / show notes. I always call it something different so that no matter who's listening, they understand what I'm talking about.
I think show notes make sense.
I know, whatever. And we'll be back on Friday
with a side chat.
Yeah, we're switching up the order in which we do things for a reason. But we'll be back with a side chat on Friday about what happens if you never get what you want.
All right. See you then.